Well, no doubt you've heard about the social media app TikTok. Now, I'm not on TikTok and I don't think I've even ever looked at it, but it's got close to 2 billion users right around the world. It's the biggest cohort of which is women aged between 18 and 24. While it still ranks as the 5th most popular social media platform overall, it's been responsible, we're told, for resurrecting songs by Fleetwood Mac and Boney M, they're the good things, and causing a rush on Crocs, of all things, and Stanley Cups. But behind the scenes, tech experts and lawmakers have been concerned about TikTok's Chinese owners, a company called ByteDance, which could be compelled to turn over user data to the Chinese government at any time. Now, with that in mind, the US House of Representatives today has announced that they're going to pass a bill that could force ByteDance to sell off the platform or face being banned or turned off in the United States, and that would lead to it, I presume, being turned off in this country. For more on this, I'm joined by the Director of Strategic Analysis Australia, Michael Shoebridge. Michael, let's start with the main concern here. Would the Chinese government, or could the Chinese government force ByteDance to be forced to turn over all of that user data that comes with TikTok?
Well, Steve, the answer is yes. The Chinese government and its spy agencies have a wide set of laws that can force even the most reluctant Chinese company to do whatever they want. And it's not just about ByteDance handing over 170 million Americans' personal data from the platform, but it's also the Chinese government and its spy agencies getting TikTok to use its algorithms and reach to shape what millions of Americans see and hear on the platform.
So the bill had pretty widespread support, Michael. I think in the House, 352 voted in favour, 65 against. Is it likely, I presume it's likely to pass the Senate? And we've also seen that the presumptive Republican candidate, Donald Trump, believes that TikTok should be left alone. I'm not sure why he thinks that. But if this is banned and the Chinese refuse to have it on-sold, what would be the reaction, do you think, of young people if this thing was turned off both here and in America?
Well, Steve, this is why doing the right thing is politically so difficult. There are about over 8 million Australians who use TikTok, 170 million Americans. The political pressure to leave TikTok alone is strong, and TikTok has been using that. It sent notifications to its US users for them to lobby against this law. I think all of this is now being seen through the lens of the US November elections. Trump has reversed his position. He supported a ban back in 2020. Now he thinks other big tech platforms are a bigger problem. I think he's wrong. I think if a ban does happen, that's going to be hugely domestically difficult and it'll play into that November election. But the right path is divestment. Get it out of Chinese ownership.
The other thing that this plays into, and the Financial Review reported on this yesterday, is there's quite some concern within the United States about the level of imported motor vehicles, electric cars, from China. China has ramped up its production of electric vehicles. There's lots of them coming into Australia, Michael, as well. You add to that the fact that the Biden administration is going to replace all of the cranes in its ports that were manufactured in China, about concerns that there might be within those structures things the Chinese Communist Party can turn on or off. Are we in some sort of futuristic situation here where people are concerned that at the flick of a switch, China could suddenly disable America's Chinese imported electric vehicles or stop the cranes from working?
Well, yes, Steve, it's not futuristic. These electric vehicles and Chinese cranes at major ports, including here in Australia, they're all software-operated systems. Those software all are laced back to the Chinese company that owns and controls them. And that means the Chinese Communist Party can step in and control those companies and the electric vehicles and cranes that they've sold to all of us. So TikTok's already built a global user base. We shouldn't let that happen with Chinese electric vehicles.
Swallow, I got you on another issue. From a strategic point of view, how worried are you about AUKUS, given that the Americans have said they're going to halve the number of Virginia-class submarines that they could actually produce this year, and that pushes us presumably back in the queue? I saw Alexander Downer talking to Chris Kenny saying exactly that. Is this a major concern for the Australian government and the success of AUKUS?
Steve, I think there is growing pressure on America to build enough submarines for its own Navy. It'll be at its lowest number of Virginia-class submarines right at the time we're meant to get the first of them from the Americans in the early 2030s. It'll be 20 short of what its Navy needs itself. That can't be changed now. That pressure is going to grow. We really need a plan B for AUKUS. And the obvious thing is great Australian companies making uncrewed underwater vessels that work with submarines.
I can't see us going back to the French. I don't think we'd get a good reaction there, would we?
No, or the Japanese. So, our real insurance policy here has to be uncrewed underwater systems that we can build here and have lots of.
Michael Shoebridge, always a great pleasure to catch up. Thank you very much.